Welcome everybody to Soulful Money Talks. I'm Jackie McDonald and I am on a mission to bring a new conversation to the topic of money. And I know many women that are in my zone here are spiritual, intuitive, and really powerful women. But oftentimes when they have to think about their money, deal with their money, or are faced with their money, they shrink and they move into a fearful place. And I want to help you shift that. I want to help you be able to use your gifts along with your money together. So I brought on a beautiful friend of mine today to join this conversation. So just give me a minute while I invite Kristen on. Hi, Alaya. Thanks for joining me. Hi, Pamela. Hi, Sherry. Hi, Rose. Thanks you guys for coming. And I am just going to make sure that Kristen can hop on. All right, so I would love to know what your thoughts are around this topic, because I know that this is a sensitive and emotional subject, and lots of people that I work with, I use EFT, so I work with people and their emotions, and one of the most emotional topics is money. So I'm just gonna, Kristen, I can't find you. Are you here? I'm just trying to, there you are, Kristen. Oh, I can't invite you to join the live video. All right, we're just playing with some technology here. I'm still learning how to do this. So we're gonna try this one more time. Hi, Haley, I'm so glad to see you. Hi, Tia, welcome. So have you guys ever thought about like investing in yourself or in a program or in anything in life really, but come up against that fear of, I don't know if I should be spending my money on this, or you're really kind of shrinking when it comes to actually taking that step forward and investing in yourself? All right, Kristen, I'll let you try your iPad. That's the conversation I wanted to have today, because Kristen is a soulful strategist, so she helps people build the actual structures of their business. She helps them with things like pricing, things like for your funnels, but also from that intuitive and soulful place. And I've worked with her in masterminds. We've worked together on things, and I wanted her to come on and share with us a bit about how she's made that decision, because I've known in the past I've invested in programs that I actually didn't have the money for before I invested, but I knew from that higher space that I was meant to be working with that person, that this was what I needed to be doing right now. And it takes a lot of courage to get yourself to that place, but I wanted to come on and share that what that process is like, and some tips to help you come from that place of love versus fear. All right, we'll try this again, Kristen. I only see one of you here, and it says I can't invite this guest. So yes, Haley. Yep, Alaya. Okay, awesome, girl. So what comes up for you when you do think about taking that action? For sure. Just so you know, I only have a few minutes, but I will come back to the replay. Loved your money spirit meditation. Yes, Pamela. And for anyone who hasn't experienced that yet, I do have a spirit of money meditation. So I take you through just a little guided visualization to help you tap into your spirit of money. And some people are like, oh, is it like my spirit money animal? Or it can be whatever you want. I'm really encouraging women to practice using your intuition. I know lots of us like to go to other people for advice, but to just close your eyes and ask yourself, what does the spirit of money look like to me? Is this something that I feel connected to? And people have had all sorts of different experiences. Some people see the spirit of money like a little fairy that they want to trap in a jar and never let go of. And there's a lot of symbolism around that. Obviously, if we're trying to hold on and trap our money, it can't grow, or it will die if it's that little fairy. Some people have seen the spirit of money as a really masculine energy, which can represent a male and can be quite intimidating for a woman. So there's just, yes, Sherry, I'll keep thinking when I have more money, I'll do this. Right. I've been in that place. And it's that feeling of like having to take that courage and start before you're ready. And it's like, oh, well, I'll wait. There's always something, I'll wait, or something always comes up. I'll wait for next time, or always putting it off. So I recommend Be Live TV. Yes, I know, Pamela. I've tried Be Live, but I've also done this, and it's been awesome. So, oh, Kristen, I think you're here now. So it should work. All right. It says inviting. Should be able to just accept. Yay!
Hi! Sorry, I cannot cover my camera.
You're here.
I am. Third device. How many Apple products do you need?
I know. 3 Apple products later, and you're here. Well, thanks for joining me, Kristen. I know we've been having some juicy conversations on the topic of money and coming from a more soulful place. So before we start, I just want you to introduce yourself to everyone and just let them know who you are and what you do.
I am Kristen. I am the founder of Starlight Strategies. I'm an intuitive business strategist. Basically, I am going into what you do and figure out how to make you more profits in a more easy and a more joyful manner, and also by tapping into the soul of your business and feeling in intuitively to what comes up, because we tend to neglect all of the intuitive parts of sales and our business and all that fun stuff. Hi, Alaya.
Why do you think we neglect the intuitive part of sales and money?
Because we're taught that it has to be masculine, that it has to be about these are the things that you do to make money, these are the things that you do to make sales, and you have to do all the things, and if you don't do all the things, you're not a real entrepreneur, and it's all garbage.
I love that you're talking about this, because lots of women that I'm working with lately are like, there's so many strategies and so many ways of doing things that they can't hear their inner voice, and it paralyzes them. So they don't take any action because they're like, it seems so hard.
It doesn't have to be. Like, it really doesn't have to be so hard. And people resist even hearing that, when it's like, you could be making so much money because you're here to do this thing and you have a gift. Why aren't you doing it?
Absolutely. And it is, they get pushed to that place of fear because it's something new that they haven't tried before, or it's the unknown. But I know you and I both believe that, as always, we have the answers and the guidance within us if we could take the time to listen and really tune in and play with it. It's a really playful energy. But I wanted to talk about this because I know if we're having money issues, sometimes we can't hear our intuition. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, we get trapped in fear. It's so easy, and it's what we're taught to do. It's what we've watched our parents do. And it's this place of, well, I don't have enough money, so I've got to hustle, or I've got to like make ends meet, or I've got to borrow it from this person so I can pay off my last thing. And hey, that doesn't really work.
A lot of like pushing and forcing energy, which is masculine. And I know a lot of the people in this environment know that that way is literally falling apart, like crumbling. So can you talk a little bit more about what feminine energy looks like in business?
Yeah, so it would look more like you taking the time, instead of doing something, take the time to tune into what feels good for you. And it could be making sure that you're doing rituals or aligned actions that go with whatever you're doing from the marketing aspect. It's figuring out what suits your energy and your business's energy, so tapping into that, as opposed to the, oh, hey, this person over here does this and she's making lots of money, so I'm going to do that too. Because her energy is different than yours. Like, maybe doing 10 webinars a month feels good to her. Maybe it doesn't for you.
Right. I know lots of the people follow me are highly sensitive, and like the idea of doing 10 webinars a month is like, oh my God, I would like have to sleep for 2 months after that. So
Yeah.
I like that it's really giving people permission to try things differently, to have the courage to try things differently, and to tap in. What are some ways that people can tap into their intuition in their business?
A good way is just to get really quiet and feel. And for all of us, depending on your astrology and your human design, it's going to be a different part of your body that you feel that in. For me, it's usually my solar or my sacral. And it's feeling like, when do you get those little nudges? Also for me, like, I can do like, and it's like, it totally overrides your, like, that logic part of your brain. And it's like, that's what I want, because there is no hesitation when I do that, as opposed to like, well, the pros and cons, or like, on paper, this looks good, when on paper doesn't matter. Like, I've
Right.
made really silly business decisions that, like, on paper, this would look like the smart thing, and I knew that it wasn't, and it always made good money in the end.
I love that you're talking about this, because that can go both ways. Like, even though it doesn't make sense on paper, your intuition is really strong and knows, like, this is something I have to do. Have you experienced that before as well?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, honestly, almost everything I do is like that. It's like I make out a really great plan, and then I'm like, this isn't right. Let's figure out what's actually right for me about this.
And I really like that we're having this conversation, because lots of times people may have worked with coaches that are like, this is the action plan we've created. Now go and do it. And you're like, Yeah, but now it doesn't work for me anymore. Like now that doesn't feel right. So really giving people permission to just take that, like switch it up. Like, okay, well, what does work for me? Maybe bits and pieces work and other pieces don't. And knowing that you can trust yourself. Like you're your own best coach, you're your own
Mm-hmm.
best advisor. Your coaches are really here to help, guide you or support you or give you some advice, but you have the ultimate decision making power in your business.
Hey Shelby, yeah, I talked about that last week because like I sat down with two mentors and I was like, this is what I'm doing for the rest of the year. And literally got off the phone and was like, nope, nope, that's not what I'm doing. And I switched it up and now I'm like, well, I think I know what I'm doing. It might change next month. And that's okay. Like the plan is just foundation work and you're supposed to feel into, am I still aligned for this? Am I still that person? Because if you're up leveling really quickly, you might not even be that same person.
That's a really good point. And that I think with you being able to do that, it shows a belief in like abundance versus scarcity. Because lots of people think, well, I've made this plan, and if I don't do it, then I won't make any money or I won't be successful. And that's simply not true. When you have that really strong trust in your intuition, you know that the decision you make is the best one, that you're going to be supported no matter what. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because you emanate that so beautifully of like spirit is in all parts of your life, in your business, in your personal life, and with your money. You just have that know and trust that you're going to be supported. Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why do you think, what it makes you so special that you have that? How did you get to this place?
There isn't anything special about it. It's just, as a young child, I always knew, like, hey, this is what's supporting me. This is what's here for me. There were several incidents. Like, there was one time that literally an angel walked me across the road. Like, my parents were freaked out because I let go of their hand and somebody else was holding my hand. Like, I never told them this. So it was just like, somebody walked me across the road, but it wasn't them, and it was like a 4-lane road, and they were terrified because they were just like, I was like 5, and they were just like, my little girl is gonna die, and it's definitely
You've
an
never told
angel.
this.
No, I have all these stories. Oh. And so
That's
it's
amazing.
just a matter of like figuring out in every piece, like, how can I include that knowing, and how can I trust that I have the answers and that the divine has the answers, instead of me trying to force what happens. And every time that I would try to force it, I would get really, really sick. Like, went to
Really?
college and I got sick. And it was like every time I went back, I got sick, to the point like the doctors were like, you can take this Vicodin and Valium cocktail and you can't drive, or you can deal with the pain. And that
Oh,
wasn't an option for me.
there's some serious consequences for not trusting yourself then.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I wanted to, hi everyone who's joining us. Hi Jackie, hi Jaya. Sorry if I'm not following up in the comments. Hi Kurt. So one of the things that I wanted to do this video on was helping people make decisions from a place of love versus fear when it comes to investing in programs. So have you invested in a program? We kind of touched on this, but maybe you didn't have the money right up front, but you knew you needed to be in it anyway.
Yeah. Last year I made probably the biggest business purchase I'd ever made, and I was like, holy shit, am I crazy? Like, I could buy a crap ton of things for this. And I follow the profit first system kind of loosely. I changed it up a little. But so technically what I am spending should come from like 35% of what I'm making. And
Yeah.
it wasn't. And it was like, do I want to risk this? Like, am I just going to lose a lot of money? And went with it, trusted it. It was an amazing decision. Out of like, it was like April this year that my husband was like, even if you don't get anything else out of it, this is paid off. And
Wow.
I've already made the money back in sales like 4 times.
Wow. I mean, that's a
So,
pretty powerful decision. And so you had that deep knowing then that
mm-hmm.
this doesn't make sense on paper, but I'm going to do it anyway. And I think it's important to talk about that you do need to look at the numbers and take the time to have that discussion, whether it's with your accountant or your husband, whatever it is, to use both sides, to use both angles. So this is kind of just what I wanted to say is that you're really coming from your higher self. And I think of like these two voices, that voice of fear and that voice of love. And the voice of fear believes in scarcity, wants to just keep you safe. sometimes wants to keep you small. And what would that voice of love say? The voice of love knew that you needed to be in that program or whatever you invested in. And it ended up working out in a way that you could have never even come up with in the end.
What I like to do is try to listen and think about, like, are these reasons that I'm not saying yes to this? Are they from love, or are they like the logic, like, you shouldn't do this because it's not safe, this could be risky, you know, like all of that kind of vibe. And if that's the only reason, then it's probably something I should be doing.
Yes. Interesting. Well, I know I've had the same experience where I invested heavily last year in my business and I didn't have the money up front. I had some, but not all of it. But I knew it was like it was a more of a body feeling for me that I was like, this is where, I don't know why, but this is where I'm meant to be. And that's how I've kind of, my philosophy in my business has been, whether it's at events or it's programs, it's just like, for some reason, I know I'm meant to be here. And I mean, it's opened up speaking opportunities, it's opened up client opportunities, but you don't ever get the answer before you start. That's the thing. We all want the answer before we start. We want to know, but we know the universe doesn't work that way. It would be boring if we knew for sure. And anyway, I just wanted to have this conversation with you because I know that this is something a lot of people are feeling and it can be really confusing. So encouraging people to listen and tap into their intuition. And if there's fear there, then to feel the fear, not try to ignore it or push it away, but give that fear a voice. What does it have to say? And is it really guiding your decisions or not?
One question I like to ask myself is, what is this protecting me from? And it can have me think about, like, is it just getting big? Is it just, you know, the fear of not making the money back, or the fear of having to, like, go to my husband and be like, hey, can I borrow some money?
Yeah, right.
And if it's just those things, then usually it's, you know, it's worth it. It's not actually a fear. I just have to go back into the, duh, this is going to work. Like, there is not another option. And honestly, usually I quote Eminem over this. But I'm not going to rap right now because you guys don't want to hear that.
I want to hear it.
Maybe later. Maybe with alcohol.
Yeah, there we go. One of the other concepts that I really like is this idea that we think we need to make more money. But I like to think of the idea that the money is already made. It's already there and present. But we need to open pathways to allow that money to flow to us. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I feel like I've loved hearing you talk about it. It's something that I've been thinking about more. Because this year I knew, like, the one big thing that I had to do was my mastermind, and literally nothing was working until I did it. And I was like, all right, universe, I get it. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm doing this. And now it's like, okay, like, I know that I'm supposed to be working with X many more women because you showed me this in January. So how do I work with them? What feels good? What feels good for them? What's going to take them to where they want to be? And it's been, like, this process of getting really open and trying to figure out, like, what do I want to offer? Is it more than offers? Like, I'm thinking of it solely in business, and maybe these pathways aren't business. Like, imagine that.
Right. That's so interesting. So can you say that last part of again? What did you say? It's a what kind of business?
Maybe it's not just the business pathways. It could be
Uh-huh.
pathways somewhere else. I mean,
I
we've
think
been
that's
talking about, like, buying another house, or, like, investing in something and making this one a rental. And it's like, oh, yeah, that's a pathway to money. Like, that same money could come in from that.
I love this conversation because it reminds us that, like, money doesn't come from people or clients, it comes through them. Or
Mm-hmm.
like you said, like renting out your house or buying another income property. Like, these are all ways that money can come through. Or, like, I've heard someone say, like, oh, there's random things like I helped someone sell their house, they gave me $500. Like, there's so many ways people receive money for being, like, what does Allison always say? People make money being mermaids. Like, there's endless amounts of ways that money can flow to you. But we get really attached on, like, it has to come from this way and it needs to look this way. And we're just literally closing off all these other pathways and creating a lot of tension or resistance towards that one. So that's where I want to just open people's eyes up to, like, what other pathways can you open up? And one of the questions I ask is, well, what am I inspired to share right now or work with? And could I create something, an offering around that? And so, yeah, I just think that this is a fun conversation to have. What are you inspired by right now? People listening, what's something that you've been working on that you could share with other people and potentially bring income in? So, anyway, I just wanted to have that conversation with you because I think it is one that needs to be had, and just helping people lighten up the mood around money. It doesn't have to be so serious and hard and like this thing that you always have to figure out. It can be fun and light.
Do you feel like when you're opening up the pathways to money that it can come in through like free gifts, or like recently a client of mine gave me a free photo shoot because she was like, you've done so much for me, like I need to pay this back, even though like she's already paid me.
Wow.
But so it was like, I don't know how much she charges, but I'm thinking like I just got $5,000 in photos, and do you think that counts?
Oh, definitely counts. I mean, and then the more we start to notice, the more we start to receive, obviously. I mean, Maru from Infinite Receiving is an awesome example of this. Like, once you start to see all sorts of areas of your life that you're receiving in, they're just going to grow and expand quicker. So, I mean, that's happened to me in many, many ways that it's all started by me saying yes to things and just knowing like, well, this is where I'm meant to be. I don't know why. And that reason always unfolds later. Haley said, I want to hear you rap.
Not happening. There's a toddler in the house. He doesn't need to hear me rap.
All right. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about on this subject in this Soulful Money chat before we wrap up?
I feel like we have so much. So can you tell me about your experience with the spirit of money?
Yeah,
This
and
is
I want
like
to hear.
really fascinating. So
Okay, so I want to hear yours too because yours is like a sexy man, isn't it?
it was. It changed.
And then it changed.
Yeah.
So I started playing with the spirit of money. It's just like because people would always say like money is an energy or a mindset, and it didn't really like mean anything to me. Like I'm a very visual person, so I was doing a meditation one day, and the spirit of money was mentioned in it, and I was like, whoa! I actually like saw this energy. It was like this beautiful, powerful energy that came into my space, and I was like, I want to touch you, like you're so pretty. But it was like I literally couldn't touch it because I saw like a highway between us. It was like blocked with like things like construction. It was really interesting visual for me. And it was like, you need to clear this pathway so that we can hang out more. And so I worked using EFT because that's, as people may know, that's what I use is my modality for releasing and clearing any beliefs or blocks. And what came up is that I was clinging to money like a needy girlfriend. And money was like, that's, I don't want to be around you. That's not attractive energy. Like, I want you to be in your power and confident. Like that woman that walks into the room and people are like, I'm just drawn to her rather than trying to cling to money. And so it just opened up this whole conversation for me and this whole new discovery of what money, my experience with money was like. And I had some fears around being irresponsible with money in the past, and that was connected to you know, just hearing as a kid, like, don't be irresponsible with money. And so it was hard for me to hang on to money for a long time because I was afraid, like, if I have money, then I'm going to be stupid with it and my parents will think I'm stupid. You know, consciously, that's not the reality, but subconsciously, that was my belief. So then I just started to ask other people, like, what is your spirit of money like? And what does it have to show you? And I was just getting all these amazing transformations. And people were like, I've never experienced money in this way before. Like, I realized I've been kind of keeping it in the corner and not wanting it to be in my life. And I started to see money as something that was left out of the soul conversation.
Mm.
And my visual for it was like this little kid with his arms crossed. It was like, why doesn't anybody love me? Like, why doesn't anyone want to talk to me or like involve me? And that's what I'm wanting women to start inviting into their life. Like, if money is a relationship in your life, what role does it play? Are you talking to it? Are you ignoring it? Are you on again, off again? Like, what's that relationship all about? So this is really, thank you for asking this question. This is really where I've been inspired to ask these questions to these women and invite this new energy into their life.
Yeah, the first time you talked to me about it, I was like, all right, let's see what this is. And I had total kind of like, I don't know what I want to see. I've had really interesting money situations. I had an ex-boyfriend who took my credit cards and charged thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of stuff, and I didn't find out afterwards. And he was like, no, that wasn't me. Well, if it wasn't me, who was it?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so then it was like I tapped in and I was like, okay, it's like this Greek man and he's inviting me like into like talk with him and speak with him, and it was just kind of like, okay, I can do this. And then in your call last week, I did it again and I was like, hey, it's me. Like, what the funk? It's me.
Yeah, because you saw the spirit of money as you, isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you saw.
And that was really powerful. And it was like, okay, she's inviting me to become this. Like, what would I do? How would I behave if I were her? Which I am. Like,
that's where that active embodiment comes in. Like,
mm-hmm.
you know, can I allow myself to step in and be that powerful? I think money and power are closely related. Like, we see money as this more powerful thing, when money was like telling me and showing you that, no, you are powerful. It wants us to remember that we were born loving and this really positive power to us, and like hold our hand through life and help us deliver these amazing gifts to the world. So I think that's so, so cool. And have you played with that more, or was it just that one experience?
I'm still playing with it. I'm still kind of feeling into it. It makes me actually, I want to redecorate my office a little, because I'm like, she didn't have it like this. Like, I've been saying I was going to decorate my walls for months, and I haven't. So it's time to really step into the embodying and stop giving myself excuses, because that person doesn't have excuses. It's just like, she just does it.
She owns it.
Yeah, and it's like I really want to, like, I want to see a whole group of women who are doing this and becoming this. Like, I'd love to see everybody doing this, not just women. But like, what would it look like if we all as a group stepped into whatever we're seeing as our spirit of money, and really become that and act from that, instead of from that place of, I don't know if I can afford this, or like, I'm working so hard to make ends meet, and all of that, because none of that is doing anything good. Like, I'm sorry, like, if I believe that, I wouldn't have a Porsche in my driveway, and I really like my Porsche.
You're so awesome.
It's kind of my baby.
I love that visual, because that's really what my intention is to start seeing these women step up and remember. Like, it's a remembering. I think as little girls, we were born, we have little kids, we know. They just walk around knowing they're awesome. They're like, I'm powerful, I can have anything I want. Like, they have no problem knowing that. And it's reminding that little girl in us, that reminding her of her power, her connection to spirit, her connection to the universe or God or whatever it is, so that we can move through the world as these embodied women. I call it your wildly wealthy woman. Like, what would your wildly wealthy woman, what would her office space look like? And would she put up with these sorts of things? Probably not. Like, she's got that really strong boundary, and knowing that who she is enough. Like, simply that. She doesn't need to do anything, just who she is enough. So, well, thank you for sharing this. This is so cool.
So, what do you think people should do if they know they are supposed to invest in something, but feel that fear coming in, and they have all these logical reasons why they shouldn't, or they just don't feel like it's safe, but they know that's what they need?
Good question. Well, I guess I asked you this before, but first of all, to like look at that fear and feel it. Like, don't try and be like, the fear's not there. Like, no, the fear's there. So really feeling it. I use tapping to feel that fear. And then to ask your higher self what it has to say. So is your higher self solid and confident in this? Does your higher self believe this is where you're meant to be? This is what you're meant to do? And to really have the courage to start before you're ready. That's what I've had to do, to have the courage to start before I'm ready, and to ask, like, honestly, spirit or God or the universe to be with you in this decision. That knowing that you're not going to be left out on your own, and what will happen if you don't move through this. I mean, I don't want to come from that place of scarcity, but this is showing up in your life for some specific reason. So, maybe the universe is poking you for a reason, and just asking your higher self, does this feel right for me? That's how I do it. And anyway, everyone, and if anybody else has a different way that they do it, we would love to hear how you move through making these decisions and coming from that place of love versus fear. I also believe, like, in money miracles, and like lots of times we think, oh, well, if I don't have the money, then I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, or like we create this big story around fear. And I'm like, what is the loving story around that? Like, just as much that fear is real, that love is real. So what if I do have all of this and more? Like, can I allow myself to really have everything? And what would that look like? And do I feel comfortable having it all? So just playing with that different story and spending energy there rather than the what ifs. Like, what if it does work instead of what if it doesn't work? So,
Have you seen the movie Sliding Doors?
no.
Okay. It's a Gwyneth Paltrow movie. I don't remember when it's from, but it's like following two different parallel lives that she's living. And this is what I call something in my head, because when I'm trying to figure out like decisions, I like to go in like sliding doors mode, and I go through and visualize each option of like what would happen if I do this, and what would happen if I don't do this, and seeing like how it feels and what it looks like, and getting as like deep as I can into that like visualization and meditation space to figure out, is this a good decision for me? And I like sometimes I use it on really little things, and sometimes it's those big things, because I know like I'm stuck and I'm spinning in like logic mode, and I don't want to be there. I want to make the decision from my body and from the place of being tapped into my intuition. Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually told anybody that I call it this before, but it's the sliding doors thing.
No, it's amazing. It's a great visual, super similar to me. And I know you also use like pendulums and stuff to like ask specific yes or no questions, which you're the expert on that. And I think you have a video on that, don't you?
I have, maybe. I may have a little one. I'm doing another one in October, like more specifically on it. So
okay, well, everyone
if
can
the
watch.
old one's gone, then you can find me the new one in October.
Yay! Okay, good. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed this conversation and you feel more empowered to really learning to trust your intuition and to play with it. The last thing I would say is to reach out. Like, I'm a verbal processor, as Kristen knows, because I'm constantly boxing you. Like, this is what I'm going through. I need to hear myself talk it out, and then I'm usually like, I don't need the answer, Kristen, I got it. Like, but everyone has that different way of expressing themselves. So, you know, for some people it's listening to their body, and for other people it's expressing themselves verbally, writing, whatever it looks like. Elias says,
Hi, Bria.
Hey, Bria. Elias says, what if your partner doesn't support this way of thinking? That's my big block. Our money is shared. Very good question. Do you want to start with that, Kristen?
I feel like that is a huge thing that women go through, probably almost all women, and it could be true for men as well. And it's the point of getting, for me, separating the energetic part of it, because we tend to take on energy from our partners, from whoever's around us. So it could be cutting cords, but also just taking time to like speak to the spirit of money separately and understand that yours could be different than your partner's. And you may even think of like the love languages of how can I relate this to my partner in a way that they understand, in the same way that we have to relate love to our partner in a way that they understand. And often there is some sort of middle ground that you can come to just by, you know, using a different energetic twist and using a different way of speaking about it, because it may not be that they don't understand your way of thinking, they just don't understand that language that you're using. And that's completely different.
I couldn't have said it better. I love that you incorporated the 5 love languages, because it's like literally a foreign language, or like, what? I don't understand. So breaking it down, making it simple, and really it'll help you get really clear on why. Why is this important to me? And why is this something that I need to do? And conveying it from that like really heartfelt why place, I think can also help people resonate. It's not just like, you know, this is what it will do, but it's like, this is why I need to do it. This is the bigger vision for me. So good question, Alaya. Thank you. Well, I think that feels complete. Is there anything else that you wanted to share, or do you feel good?
No, but I do want you to talk about your Spirit of Money sessions.
I wasn't going to do it, but I will. Okay, so yeah, the Spirit of Money sessions are a 4-week experience. It's not like a course with PDFs. Like I've said, I've been playing with people with their Spirit of Money and helping them break through the feast and famine. And really, it's less about what it will give you, more about who you will become. So waking up every day, not worrying about money, seeing why you've been in debt for so long and how to get out of it and stay out of it. It's more about embodying who we need to become to have this new relationship with money, and living that every day, whether we have $100,000 in our bank account or 100. Because I've been in the place where I've had multiple 6 figures in my bank account and felt super insecure because I didn't feel worthy of that money. I didn't feel like I knew what to do with it. And I've had next to nothing and felt super secure. So it's really learning how to embody that sense of security with or without money, and that support of spirit with or without, you know, the number in your bank account. So that's a little bit about the Spirit of Money sessions. And there is 8 women. So like you said, like really seeing these women come up and embody their wildly wealthy self, and knowing that they are powerful around the topic of money, they are spiritual, and that they can create a big, bold, beautiful life. That's what I want for everyone. So thanks for asking, Kristen.
Hi, Allison. Jackie, can you tell me a little more about who's right for the Spirit of Money sessions?
Good question. Well, the idea that came to me yesterday was this is for someone who already loves the topic of money. They've probably like read a lot of books or done a lot of research, but they want the sustainability. They don't want just like a 6-figure, month. They want like a 6-figure lifestyle. So this is someone who wants to feel that like consistently, not just the flash in the pan success, but something more sustainable. This is for someone who's maybe feeling a little insecure and powerless, but they know there's just a small tweak, like they can feel they're at the edge of really breaking through it. This is for someone who is meant to live a big, bold, beautiful life. Like they just are some kind of magnet, and that money is taking up too much of the space in the conversation. It's blocking them from their creativity. It's blocking them from their intuition. And money's like, girl, I want to work with you. So I'm just like, can we just connect the two so you can blossom and bloom? So yeah, thanks for asking, Kristen. And
Yes.
it's there's only 8 women. It's really important for me to work with people one-on-one, because that's where people have, especially around money, it's such an intimate topic. You really need to have that space to be heard and to work through. I mean, EFT is quite personal, but to work through those blocks. Allison said, I feel like it'd be great even for someone who's been making great money. Absolutely. One of the archetypes is the next level woman. So this is someone who's already got it all together and they're ready to go to the next level. But they're like, ooh, we need that extra supportive spirit to really boost us there. Thanks, Allison. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. This conversation, like, who loves Kristen? Give me some hearts. Amazing.
Aww, I love you.
I wanted to share all of our Voxer messages because we have the most soulful conversations around this topic. So
we do have great secret conversations.
I'm always like, I wish the world could hear this conversation. So yeah, I'm glad that you guys got a taste of Kristen's amazingness today. And I hope that this helped you have a reframe around your relationship with money. And if you want to continue this conversation, make sure you reach out to me. If you have any questions, reach out to Kristen or I. We're here to help you. So have a great day, everyone. Lots of love.
Bye.
Bye.